Go.
Okay, rolling, and action.
How did you get started working in real estate?
I've been in the sales and service industry now for 25 years, and I transitioned from the banking industry to the car sales industry, and I wanted to get into real estate to start investing. And I went online at that time, took enrolled into the licensing process. I actually thought I was going to be learning how to invest in real estate. I quickly learned as they mailed me the books for the licensing process that this was to make sure that you don't get sued as a salesperson. And having the background in sales and service already, I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? And now I've been doing it for 15 years and having a blast.
How does your daily routine impact your success?
So my daily routine, specifically for the last few years, is I take a drive into the office, which is about an hour and 10 minutes here in the Greater Toronto area. For those that know the traffic in the mornings, it is somewhat brutal. So it takes me about an hour and a half to get in. And what I do first thing in the morning as I get into my car is generally listen to an audiobook or a podcast. I'm a true believer that 80% of it really is mindset and 20% is skill, like actually what you do. And so I spend all my time in my office with my core staff of 10 people, which include admin and media, and spend 50% of my time thinking of ways of getting new business and 50% of my time putting out fires in terms of either what comes up with client. When you're in the client service business, things come up all the time. But like I said, I spend the other 50% of my time figuring out how to get more business.
What was your journey like to success?
It's been a straight line. No, I'm kidding. It's been a lot of up and downs, as you can imagine. In fact, my team for 2019 just got awarded the #1 team in Royal LePage out of 18,000 realtors across the country, and very, very proud of the team for all the hard work and the effort. But I've been saying that it took 15 years to be an overnight success. And so there's been a lot of ups and downs, some tragedies, as well as relationships that have broken from a business perspective. And so look, it takes a lot of hard work.
What was a pivotal point in your career as a realtor?
The pivotal point really came about a year into the business. That's when I realized, I probably only did about 5 to 6 transactions, but I understood the basics, which was I needed to just meet more people. And that I never really was a good salesperson. I'm not good at selling. Where I think I excel at is helping people and making it really easy for them to buy. So giving the facts up front and letting people make the decision. Look, in real estate, you're not going to be living in the home as the realtor. And so you walking around and talking about what's good, like here's a kitchen and here's a bathroom. People know what that's all about. You're there to present facts and give them numbers, what's going on in the marketplace, what's happening in a certain area. And so once, like about a year in, I knew that I could be good at this if I just met enough people. And that happened a year into the business. And as they say, the rest is history.
What are the most important factors to consider when trying to sell a home?
It comes down to market conditions, pricing, and how you're going to market the home. So market conditions are really not in your control. It kind of depends on what's happening in the economy at a larger scale, but then also how many homes are available, how many homes are selling in your area. Pricing is definitely in control. And so when you first come to market, you want to make sure that you're at a very aggressive price depending on what other comparable homes are selling for. And then you want to make sure, how are you marketing it? Like, long gone are the days where people open up the Sunday paper and see what homes are available. So you definitely need to have an online presence. But I'm actually physically speaking on how are you marketing your home. You know, when you walk through a new home, a showroom, or a new car, everything smells new. It feels like there's a certain smell in the air. It's staged almost perfectly. You want to get to close as possible to that setting. And so simple things, decluttering your home, making the beds of the bedroom, making sure that you do trim the hedges, spending a little bit of time and money into taking care of the curb appeal. So it's market conditions, pricing, and then marketing.
What are the most important factors to consider when buying a home?
First and foremost is budget. Budget will determine what location you're going to be looking at. And so I strongly advise the first person that you sit down with is a more independent mortgage advisor, because what he or she is able to do is they actually work with over 477 lenders right across the country. See, if you go to the red bank, they might not tell you about the blue bank, and the blue bank might not tell you about the green bank's rates and terms. And so you want to make sure that you sit down with an independent mortgage broker, not only to find out the purchase price, but to actually really work out what the numbers are going to look like on a monthly basis, because that's what you're going to be paying: mortgage payment, property tax, insurance, utilities, on top of, and the other thing that a lot of buyers don't look at is, for example, internet and phone bills and just groceries and car insurance. So you got to make sure you look at what is going to be the carrying costs on a monthly basis. And then you want to put together a real estate all-star team. So you want to have a buying agent. So that's your realtor, your real estate agent in the specific area that you're looking for. So if you sold a home in downtown Toronto, but now you're buying in Woodbridge, you might need to have two different realtors, because the realtor in downtown Toronto might not know what the market conditions are like in Woodbridge. Someone else that you want to get in touch with right away is a real estate lawyer. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, that a real estate lawyer you pay a real estate lawyer every time you call them or email them. That's just not true. It's a one-time fee, and you want to make sure that they review all the documents that your mortgage advisor gives you, and then also what any and all documents that your realtor asks you to sign. It's a one-time fee. You might as well make use of it. So you want to make sure you put together that real estate all-star team.
What do people need to look for when looking for a good real estate agent?
Experience. It really helps. In fact, it's the number one factor. So the most simple question that I would ask a realtor is, how many homes and how many people have you helped in the area that I'm looking at? And so it goes back to originally what I said when looking for a realtor, that if you sold a home in downtown Toronto, but you're buying in Woodbridge, you want to make sure that your realtor has experience in that area. Also, what type of team do they have? Unfortunately, in the real estate business, the one realtor does everything. And they just haven't gotten around to yet building a team. But the reason you would rather have a realtor that has a team around them, because then he or she's not doing everything, right? And sometimes they're running around with their heads cut off, but their main job is to find you a home, and find you that home with the best possible terms negotiated for you. See, the more experience that a realtor has, they've been through kind of the trenches in terms of negotiations, and not any deal is not the same. Not every deal that is put together is the same. And so experience when it comes to negotiations is something that you really want to look for when selecting a realtor.
What's one of the most valuable lessons you've learned in your career?
Patience. That success does take time. And there's going to be, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And so having the patience to understand that if you put in the work, and this is in anything, not just in the real estate business, but if you put in the work daily and you're consistently persistent, it will pan out. However, what I find is a lot of people get into this business and think, they see some realtors with fancy cars and fancy suits, and it's like, I sell a home and I'm going to be rich. That's just not the case, because there's a lot of expenses, there's a lot of costs, marketing costs, administration costs, hard business costs, that you need to make sure that you have the patience to understand that it all comes down to meeting people, treating them fairly, exceeding their expectations, and always thinking long term.
What advice do you have for realtors that are just starting out?
I think the first thing that a realtor should do is actually get an executive assistant. And the reason is because as you start out, you'll start to try to do everything on your own, but you'll waste a lot of time. So if I were to go back now and start this all over again, the first thing I would have done is got an assistant, because what my assistant that helps me now, and I've had one for 7-8 years, helping me with all the mundane stuff, the paperwork. So just putting together all the paperwork that you need to collect, putting up listings on MLS, searching MLS to get comparable homes, putting up a lockbox, putting up a for sale sign, designing the website, helping with marketing. All that stuff can be delegated, because as a realtor, you have 2 jobs. It's meet people and help them buy, sell, or invest in a home. And so a lot of people would say to me that I can't afford an assistant. You can't afford not to have an assistant. You will find this business very, very tough and stressful, and you'll be you'll be working lots of hours, more than you need to be, and working a lot of hours on the wrong stuff. You just have those 2 jobs, stick to those, and delegate everything else.
How is the coronavirus pandemic currently impacting the real estate industry?
Well, sales have gone down. They've gone down approximately 15.9%. It's still too early to tell. Here in the Greater Toronto area, we've had we've been under the lockdown now for about 18 days or so, and so real estate market doesn't act like and behave like the stock market with daily fluctuations. It takes a little bit of time. I do think, though, that there's going to be less sales, but there's still a lot of sellers on the market that had purchased a home pre-COVID, and now they're on the market. They're not giving away their homes either, but there are motivated buyers and sellers. We've seen hundreds of sales being done virtually. Like all paperwork is done virtually, but even virtual showings. Within this COVID period of time, we've seen hundreds of sales. And so there's going to be less sales, but that doesn't mean that values are going to drop at the same rate that the sales amount is dropping. However, I do think that values are going to see a dip as well. It's always happened. If you look back at any type of downturn in the market, values have dipped, but real estate goes up and down upwards, and we're going to see it again because we've always seen it. Will this be maybe a little bit longer in terms of a dip? Yeah, maybe we might be in a dip for 3 to 4 months, maybe even 6 months. But here's the thing: anybody that has actually saved money, that now is a time where we're starting to see some compelling buying opportunities. But if you just lost your job, for example, you definitely should be thinking about tracking your expenses, and investing into real estate shouldn't be first on your list right now. And so long term, I definitely see real estate bouncing back. It always has. It's something that people need. Everyone needs a place to stay. Greater Toronto area is, the fundamentals here are very strong. Lots of people are coming to the city of Toronto because of the jobs. The immigration is what is going to slightly take a hit because our borders are closed. But once everything opens up again, the fundamentals, as always, have been very, very strong in Toronto, and so we might see a dip in values, but I still think we're going to be trending around the 3.5% to 5% year-over-year increase. Once all the dust settles with this, and we look at the stats, I think we're going to end up in that range.
Do all home or condo sales have to be on hold right
No, in fact, law offices, or majority of them in the Greater Toronto area, are set up virtually. The land registry office, which is really where title gets transferred. So Mary Jane buys a house from John Smith. The title gets transferred at the land registry office through lawyers. That is all still open. Lenders are still lending money, like mortgages. Actual money for the mortgage gets transferred electronically, always has. And so it's not like somebody has to physically drop off hundreds of thousands of dollars at the bank or release it to the purchaser. So everything is done virtually. Homes and condos have been not only closing, but they've also been selling as well.
now? How do you think the industry will react when the coronavirus lockdown is over?
Well, I think first and foremost, everyone's going to have a huge hugging party. I think that's where we're going to really get started. But in terms of the actual market, there's going to be a huge pent-up demand. Again, everyone who has been holding off to either put their home on the market, and people who are thinking about buying because they need a home, or just investors as well. There's going to be a huge pent-up demand, and then we're going to start to see that 5, 6, 7% year-over-year increase. Because if you look at the last 40 years in the Greater Toronto area, we've seen a 6.9% year-over-year increase. And so I think we're going to start to see that. It might take about 12 months for us to see that 6.97% year-over-year increase. In fact, before COVID happened, we were seeing 11.2% increase in the Greater Toronto area. Sellers have been waiting to put homes and condos on the market, and so that pent-up demand is going to get released as the lockdown gets released.